Well, hello, everyone. Yes, welcome to A Course in Miracles. I'm Tomas Garza, and today we're going to talk about you. I know. Let's talk about you, shall we? And I'm also talking about myself. And I'm talking about your spouse, your kids, your neighbors, love them or not, right? I'm talking about your worst political enemy, people that frustrate you, people that adore you, and people on the other side of the world that you'll never meet in this lifetime. Everyone, indeed, everything that lives. So we're in the workbook for students, and as you're following along, and I know some of you are following along here with me, we're at yet another of the deep questions that here in part 2 of the workbook follow 10 lessons. Then there's a deep question that's designed to get us to contemplate, which we'll do, and then a following 10 lessons prompted by another question. And today, the question for our consideration is, what is the Christ? We've talked about this, and in the prior couple of videos here in this series, I've alluded to this very question. And we've talked a little bit about it, and this is the fundamental question that underpins the next 10 workbook lessons, which we'll start back on in the next video here. But let's consider this question here. What is the Christ? Now, you have heard me talk about the Christ. You'll notice that I'm not referring to Christ as only Jesus. And in popular culture today in the world, when someone says the word Christ, they usually don't say the Christ. Sometimes they do, but they still mean Jesus. That's commonly what people think of is the historical Jesus, Christ. Yet, it's actually quite a bit broader than that. The Christ is the thought of God. It's God's Son as he was created. It's you as you were created. It's me as I was created. It's your worst political nightmare as he or she was created. Just saying, it's God's Son as he was created. All of us, each and every one of us is the Christ. Now, I invite you to read the commentary here. And if you've got the second combined edition of A Course in Miracles, it's on page 431 of the workbook. If you've got a different version of the course and it's paginated differently, this is question 6. What is the Christ? In part 2 of the workbook. Follows lesson 270, precedes lesson 271. I know, right? Yeah. What is the Christ? It's you. It's ourself with a capital S. It's us. As we were created, in other words, the thought of God, the extension of God, home in God, one with God. That's the Christ. So this is another way of looking at some of the ideas that we've seen here in the workbook already. It's another way of approaching the idea of forgiveness, and this lends credence, solid credence, certainty to the fact that when we forgive someone else, we're forgiving ourselves. When we forgive ourselves, we're forgiving everyone else without exception. There is no separation at all. One with God means one with. I mean, is that subject to any other meaning, really? Is that capable of being construed any differently? One with. And here in a video dedicated to A Course in Miracles put on by this being that you see in front of you on the camera, a spiritual teacher, right? In this context, this all seems super, super obvious, doesn't it? It's because it is. However, we go off in the world and we contemplate and we mess things up, we overthink. Who's an overthinker out there? Well, you all don't have to self-identify. Overthinkers know who they are. But actually, we're all overthinkers because we get out there and we complicate things. We create layers of complexity where there doesn't need to be any complexity, and where in truth there is no complexity. We play our little mental games and delude ourselves for many lifetimes, and we create this labyrinth that we call the world, and we call it the real world, reality, when in fact it's a complete illusion that we've fabricated and made up. Because who are we? We are the Christ. We are Christ. You are Christ. Does this make you equal to Jesus? You bet it does. One with means one with. Now, in time, we have not realized what Jesus realized in time. However, we're on our way to doing just that. And in truth, one means one. So I invite you to think about that. The ego would love to take this and run and twist my words, to twist the words of Jesus into thinking yet it is superior. Oh yeah, you, separate you, are superior to everyone else. But the ego wants to believe that. And then 5 minutes later, it's going to have you feeling like you're inferior to everyone else, and the entire world is out to get you. It's against you. It's us against the world. How is that ever an empowering statement? What the hell is that about? Truth is, we're the Christ. We're as God created us. The Son of God, the extension of God, the thought of God, God's creation, as he, she, it, they, name your pronoun, pick it. I don't care. As we were created. And just that, nothing more, and well, most certainly nothing less. All right, so this idea forms the backdrop for the next few lessons here in the workbook that we're going to continue here in the next video. And guys, I really hope that you're taking this one to heart. You are the Christ, the Christ. Each and every one of us is the Christ. When people talk in spiritual terms about self with a capital S, it's what we're talking about. What else? Really, really, what else?